Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Undercast. I believe the Undercast. Yes, good job. Just gave you a look of malice. So this is the fourth episode, the fourth installment of the Undercast.
Well, we made it one more episode than our last series.
Can't wait till this YouTube channel dies. Ooh. Rest in peace, PewDiePie.
It's not alive yet.
So today's subject is going to be something that's almost difficult for me to title. Obviously, you know the title because you're watching. You know what we ended up titling it because you're on the video. But
we do not know what we've titled it.
I guess. I mean,
we have a generalized idea.
Inexplicable Enigmas. There was a show in the 80s called Unsolved Mysteries.
I was gonna say you couldn't just call it Unsolved Mysteries.
But that's copyright.
It's the Midnight Zone.
Okay, so today's episode of the Midnight Zone.
No. I only
Noah has and myself. We both have found out a unexplained, very odd story that probably a lot of people have become conspiracy theory nuts over, and we've each done our research on it.
Extensive research, at least 10 minutes.
You've done 10 minutes of research?
Just about.
I did 11.
Whoa.
Get
Those
wrecked.
are big boy numbers, dude.
Damn. All right, so here, you start with yours.
My theory is on the Pollock twins. I don't know exactly what year the first set of twins was born.
50s into 60s.
No, that was, I think it was the 40s.
Oh,
the first,
okay.
The first set. The first.
Oh, you're saying born? Okay.
Yeah, the first set of twins was born probably around the 40s, and then they died in a car crash in 1956, and then 2 years later, another set of twins, also girls, were born in 1958. And
this is the same parents, by the way.
Yeah, same parents.
That's notable, by the way.
That is extremely notable.
They wanted to try again.
They did. So they tried again, and supposedly the father had been having visions of his children coming back. Supposedly, I don't know if I buy that or not. I think he might have just threw that in after.
At this point, though, in this story that you're telling, why would you make anything up? It's so incredibly.
It is very on. I don't know. It's more fame, maybe. Anyway, he had more publicity. You know, as I had visions of this. I knew this was going to happen.
At this point, you're already the freaks on the block. Why are you digging yourself a deeper grave, dog?
I don't know, man. But one of the girls, and her name was Gillian, had the same birthmarks as one of her sisters, like exactly the same birthmarks, and they both looked the same as the
ones who died in the car crash.
As their respected counterparts. Respective counterparts.
Yes.
And there were actually the places that some of the girls had scars. The other two twins had birthmarks where there was. It gets even weirder as the twin girls, the new set of twin girls, we'll call them.
We'll call them the new and the old.
The new and the old.
The old had scars. The new have birthmarks in those places.
The old died in a car crash, and the new was able to tell in vivid details the events leading up to the car crash. Supposedly, they had a fear of cars and walking across the street. I'm serious.
Well, I mean, they were 5-year-olds at the time that they were reciting this.
Yeah,
this inexplicable enigma.
This inexplicable enigma. They were young and
wild and free. They were troubled.
They were very extremely troubled. Like, wow. But it had never been talked about in front of them before, so they was kind of weird how they knew that.
Yeah, they were without having prior knowledge to this car crash.
It's also important to note that the two new twins had the same food interests that the previous two had liked, similar personalities and mannerisms and behaviors. Now, it's also important to note after the girls turned 5, a psychiatrist by the name of a name I don't have, but his first name was Ian.
Ian. That's all that's really important.
Ian Malcolm.
What?
The guy from Jurassic Park, you know?
Ian Malcolm?
Ian Malcolm.
Who played him?
Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, so all you had to say was Jeff Goldblum from the first Jurassic Park.
Jeff Goldblum.
That's all you needed to say.
Ian Malcolm, dude.
I don't know. Nobody knows that
everybody knows Ian Malcolm.
They know that Jeff Goldblum played. Okay.
Comment down below if you knew who Ian Malcolm was.
Nobody comments on these videos.
Yeah, but if you want to, please, it would help.
If you actually want to be a good viewer, then do your stupid freaking part. And
Whoa.
I'm just kidding.
Whoa. Take it back.
No, I don't take it back.
Take it back.
I say what I mean, and I mean what I say.
Okay.
Continue.
Anyway, it was weird because he was a psychiatrist for them at the time, and he was like, "Well, this is not explainable," and the parents were like, "Yeah, we know." And supposedly, after the girls turned 5, they lost all memory of their previous life.
After they turned 5?
After they turned 5. Like, after the age of 5,
they just lost
the memory of the previous life, and they were like, huh.
So they just... You're telling me that they, like, wake up one morning, and they're like...
After their birthday.
After their birthday, they just wake up, and they're like... Because wasn't their entire identity up until that point basically just freaks of human nature retelling the story of a crash they had no idea about, and that they're just reincarnated twins? So now they wake up one morning and they have completely new, like, are they reborn then?
No,
like,
they still had the same personality and everything like that, the same birthmarks, all that, same food preferences. They just woke up one morning and couldn't remember the details of the car crash anymore. They couldn't navigate their way through the town. Oh, I forgot to mention, they were able to navigate their way perfectly through towns that the new set of twins had never been to, but the set of old twins lived in. They recognized the house that the old set of twins lived in, that they were like 3 months old when they moved out of.
Oh, so, that's horrible.
That is so that there's that. That's pretty wacky.
Now, do you have a theory as to why? Because I kind of do, but you kind of shot it down before we started the podcast.
Well, it's just my theory. Well, the father was very heavily Christian, and that's important to note. And the mother was not religious at all. But the father...
Unequally yoked, I see.
Yes. Could lead to... never mind.
And what does it lead to?
Nothing. And...
You're reciting a Bible verse, Noah?
No.
Oh, okay.
I forgot.
Okay, anyway, the father was heavily Christian. Continue.
The father was heavily Christian. The mother was not. So the father...
cheats on
visions. No, had visions of his children coming back and always prayed to God about it. So my theory here is that maybe God was like, yeah, okay, we could reincarnate you, I guess, maybe.
And therefore God said, bet.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think that I think that's what happened. I think that might be because father was Christian, he believed in reincarnation. And maybe God was just like,
But does the Christian faith typically believe in reincarnation?
Not typically, but I don't think...
This guy was special?
I don't... Yeah, I mean,
special
I don't know about special, but
he's
there's
a special breed of Christian.
A lot of different denominations of Christianity, all of them with varying beliefs, such as, Catholics believing that we should pray to Mary.
And, like, put water on our children, and, like, they're, saved, I guess? I Sprinkle some water on your child, and he can... do whatever, he'll still go to heaven. Is that what they believe?
That's not what Catholics believe. I think that's Baptists.
Baptists? Dude, we don't even know.
Catholics are, like, extremely strict in everything. If you're born a bastard, then you don't get to be Catholic.
That sounds really unpleasant. You think that this man, the father of both sets of twins, he just had an answered prayer?
Yeah, possibly.
All right, bet.
It's possible.
All right,
I don't see why not.
I think now I took more of a physical route on this, and like not necessarily scientific because I don't know what I'm talking about and if this could possibly even be possible, possibly even be possible. But possibly. There's the possibility.
Possible effect.
Okay, goddamn. All right. So, here's my theory So these two parents are constant variables, correct? And they have a set of twins, all right? And obviously, having twins is a certain gene that's passed on. Having a higher possibility of giving birth to twins is a gene that is able to be carried.
But it's also important to mention the family history had like absolutely no twins were born.
Which is weird because there's also recessive and dominant traits. It might have been recessive up until this point. But then all of a sudden the gene spread its ugly wings or ugly teeth or whatever.
But if how would two recessive genes make a dominant gene?
I don't know. I said I'm not 100% sure because I'm a junior in high school, Noah. All I know is that it's very, very hard for one to predict genetics 100% of the time, because the human body and DNA strands are very complex. But what I'm saying is that God knows if their memories, if these two new twins had actual accurate memories, or if that part was all made up. And this was the 50s. That 50s this was
into the 60s,
and there were a lot of things that were fudged up back then and able to be faked. But
to be fair, the twins were only born in 1958, so
all right.
By the time they were 5, it was the 60s.
That doesn't mean anything.
We're still a bit further on. Times change.
That still means nothing. But here's the thing. I don't know about how they had the same mentality as the previous twins, or if that was made up. But to explain the birthmark. To explain the birthmarks where the scars were, where the birthmarks where the scars were, that could have been a coincidence. I mean,
but that's one hell of
a
coincidence.
And when you say they're exactly, you can't. It doesn't say exactly.
Not exactly the same.
Birthmarks are one of the most common things that happen to
as the scars.
Humans.
Same spot as the scars.
All right, but it doesn't have to be exact. So the possibility of it not actually, if the possibility of it being a coincidence is more likely than not.
I don't know.
But once I think the reason that they looked so similar, though, is because they share both their parents' genes, which are both constants.
The looking similar part isn't the part that got me. When I first read the theory, I misunderstood. I thought the second set of twins was boys. I was wrong. But
okay. But they do look very similar in pictures, and that's eerie.
That's not the driving force of the theory, though.
And I guess, I mean, obviously memories can't be passed down through DNA, to my knowledge, or to any medical knowledge that there is right now, unless I'm missing out on something that the FDA is hiding from me. But
the government has it in the Illuminati triangle on the moon.
As far as I know, that could have been easily faked. The birthmarks could have been a coincidence, and they look the same because of genetics.
What about the personalities being the same? And
because your personality also comes from two constant variables, being your parents. A lot of siblings tend to be very similar as they mature. Like you might become more like your older brother as you grow up. Obviously, you were parented differently than he was because, I mean, mistakes were made and then refurbished as the new child came along. But you're probably a lot more similar than you think.
No, we're quite opposite.
I mean, not you in particular, just a lot of siblings can have very similar characteristics, and obviously very different ones. But I'm saying if they're prone to having twins, why couldn't they be prone to also having two sets of twins that happen to be pretty similar in personalities?
I don't know. Think about like Alex and Zach Reed. They're totally different personalities, but they're twins.
Alex and Zach
Reed. Yes.
Who is that?
You don't know that?
No. Do they go to our school?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so that's that theory. Unless do you have a better explanation for what could have happened here?
I already told you my theory.
All right.
That's the only thing I have to go off of.
I don't even choose to believe in the story existing. I'm just kidding. I know it exists, but I don't. It hurts my brain to pursue any farther. So anyway, my story. If you've probably heard of this one, they actually made American Horror Story Season 6 based off of it. Obviously not historically accurate because it's American Horror Story. But mine was about the Roanoke colony. It's been 1580s, and this is where it was in where modern North Carolina currently is. This is where they settled, and there were some immigrants from Europe, and they were like, "Yo, we're gonna colonize on the coast of North Carolina," and they did. Their population grew to about 117. By the time that the governor, whose name was he was a pretty well respected and honest man, but his name was John White, and so they're running out of supplies, right?
Oh, well, yeah, that happens.
It'd be that way. And also, they're just like a bunch of white people that were complaining that escaped from Europe to a completely new environment. So obviously, they don't have the knowledge to do everything themselves. So, John White, he's like, I'm going to go back to England. I'm going to go grab some provisions, and I'm gonna come back. Should be a 6-month journey tops. 3 months there, 3 months back.
That's pretty long for a town to go mayorless.
Well, that's why they, like, I'm sure he sent somebody, like, he had somebody in charge while he was gone. You know?
Personally, I think it's better to send a group of people rather than...
Oh, and he did.
What?
What do you mean? Like, he had people with him. It wasn't just him on an entire ship.
I'm saying, personally, I think it's better that he sends a group of people out while he stays to, be the mayor.
Well, I'm not John White, and I can't explain to you why he made that decision.
He was probably the most qualified to be the mayor. Maybe if he was there, nothing would have happened. It's all your fault, John White.
And honestly, you're right, because he left behind a wife, 2 girls, and a granddaughter.
And it's all his fault.
And I wouldn't say anything that happens here.
Just his fault.
Well, anyway, so it's spooked me. The ghost of John White.
Yeah, he was like, hey!
He's like popping into the room to say hi. Anyway, so John White, he goes to England, and he's like, I'm going to be back in like 6 months, right? And I'm going to come back with tons of provisions. Anyway, while he's out, Spanish and the English get in a naval battle. And it's all hands on deck, all ships on deck. And he's like, I gotta stay here and fight this freaking battle because technically I'm still loyal to the king. So, he fights this naval battle and is back 2.5 years later.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, he comes back in 2.5, 3 years. And absolutely no sign of anybody. No, but here's the thing. You might just say, oh, some Native Americans pillaged, raped, and took the lot. They didn't, because there were no signs of anything.
I was personally thinking they just left. They were like, you know what, the mayor's not coming back, so they left.
Now, that's a theory, and there's a lot of people that negate that theory, because while he was gone, the town appeared to have been thriving more than ever. They had been forced to learn how to cope all that time and learn how to progress, and they were. And all of it, well, that's what the signs of the town were showing. And then all of a sudden, he comes back, and it looks like the place has been abandoned for months. But abandoned not as in their houses they were on fire and there's like stuff smolder. It's just empty. It's like everything that he left behind, except obviously they had advanced since he'd been gone, but empty. I mean, the crops dead, but other than that, no signs of forced entry, no signs of struggle, no blood, no nothing, no anything. And that's, at the time he left, it was about 117 people. By this point, it was closer to about, an estimated 140 to 150 settlers.
Perhaps. Wait, I'll
So that's a lot of people gone.
Gone?
And I'll share with you the common theory. To the south of where they were, there's an island that...
Wait, where's the Roni tribe?
The Roanoke? They were on the coast of North Carolina. So to the south, off the coast, there's an island that belonged to the Croatoan tribe. Now, what John found, though, the only thing he found that could relate to these people, the Croatoans, was a wooden sign etched in it said Croatoan. That's it. It just was a sign in the town of Roanoke that said Croatoan. Croatoan is that island south of the coast that is the inhabitants are the Croatoans. There's also no proof, though, and barely any evidence that they had anything to do with the disappearance of the people, considering how far away they were, how much of an effort it would have been, how unlikely it would have been that they would have found them, the fact that they were a violent tribe and didn't kidnap and take prisoners, the fact that there was no DNA within the Croatoan blood that related back to English settlers. So, I mean, what do you think, Noah?
All right, so I've got a few theories here.
All right, bet.
First off, aliens. Duh.
Okay, bet.
No, aliens. Anyway, second theory, the more likely theory, is that someone was out like fishing or something, and they found this island, and they met the Croatoan, or they met a Croatoan or something, just maybe like one or two. They were like, hey, can we like come over here? Because, we need some help. And they're like, yeah, we could teach you things. So they got the village, went on a boat, and between the island and the other place, either they went off course or the boat sunk. Somewhere between the island or somewhere else.
So every single that would have had to take every single one of the inhabitants.
There was only
to
117.
Get about 150 at this point.
There was only 150.
So 150 people on the boat that they don't have because their one boat has been taken over to England.
Now, where is the fact they only have one boat?
because there was only one ship, and that ship was taken by John White for supplies. There's only one supply ship. Anything smaller than that wouldn't have been able to take more than like 20 people. So, and also the fact that there were a lot of people that researchers that went to, because Native Americans are very good about passing on stories to their heirs, and down the generation path. There's absolutely no encounters with the people of Roanoke or anybody like them with the Croatoan tribe ever existing together. Also, they were a warring tribe, hostile, which would have meant that they would have slaughtered them, but there was no evidence of that because they soon investigated right after to see about the Croatoans, and I think they further pretty much the English, once they saw that Croatoan sign, they pretty much slaughtered their people on that island once they saw them, and it turns out they were innocent, really. I mean, there was no proof to execute those people.
Why else would there be a Croatoan sign in the village?
That's the mystery.
Maybe,
like, what does that mean, though?
Maybe the Croatoans came over and the people were all like, oh, hey, that's that tribe, the really mean ones. And so they left, and then the Croatoans chased them into the wilderness because they had already left the town.
Then where are the signs of that with the Croatoan people? Why do they have no account of this?
Because they slaughtered all the Croatoans before they gave them a chance to talk.
There were significantly more tribesmen than there would have been weak pilgrims with like a few muskets here and there. Every one of those warriors is equipped with like a bow and spear.
Well, you said the English slaughtered all of them.
Yeah, when they came back in gunboats.
Exactly.
Full of fleets of military. So they not like 150 random settlers that are just trying. Right. They're just.
So the settlers.
See, settlers were farmers.
You're not understanding me. The settlers saw the Croatoans coming and were like, okay, we got to get out of here. And so they left a quick sign. You know, they etched a sign, left the village, and then the Croatoans chased them into the wilderness. And that's why there's no evidence of them breaking and entering and forced entry and all that. Well, and I'm sure they did something with the bodies, like dumped them in the sea. They didn't want to get in trouble, so they were like, we'll hide the bodies and we won't talk about this because we just realized these were English settlers.
No, I'll take that.
And then the English came, saw the sign, and were like, yeet! And then they went over and...
Yeah, they pretty much condemned the Croatoans when they saw that sign. But
that's my
I'll take that theory. I'll take that one when they chase them off. But also, here's an interesting thing, too, about the houses, is that everything was put away very neatly. There was nothing that was left out. If you're going to be chased out of a town, you're going to leave your plate where it was, not wash it, put it back in the cabinet dried.
Well, I don't think if you're just going to disappear, you'd leave your plate out either. So it really, you know.
You have limited time to get out. You have a limited time to get 150 people out.
I'm thinking that maybe it wasn't, you know, they didn't leave the plate out. Maybe it wasn't dinner time. Maybe it was night. Maybe it was like 2 or 3 o'clock and everything just happened to be clean because, you know, they weren't eating yet and they were like, huh. And then they left.
I think overall that both of our stories are very like unexplainable. Inexplicable, unexplainable, inexplicable enigmas. And they're not just unsolved mysteries. They're inexplicable enigmas.
Indeed.
One that the top minds at NASA, I mean, this isn't rocket science, but if the top minds at NASA probably couldn't figure this out.
They're not history people. I'd probably...
Okay, the top minds at History Channel.
Indiana Jones couldn't figure this out.
History Channel couldn't. Actually, I think the History Channel did a whole documentary about this.
Indiana Jones, though.
We should put links in the description of like a documentary, just like a YouTube documentary, like a link in the description in case you want to look more into this.
Well, they have the names, the Pollock twins.
Yeah, the Pollock twins and the Croatoan. You know what? Do the work yourself. We spent so long putting in links for the last one.
And now we have to edit 2 videos together.
Yeah, do you know how much work that takes?
A lot of work.
Yeah, I had to go up to go put a Christmas tree like in a place and then figure out that we didn't need to. So then we just came back and now we have 2 videos to edit because we had to cut. So
there's been a lot of work that I've almost done and then not had to do.
Yeah, I mean you've been interrupted the podcast like twice today, but you know at least it didn't.
At least it didn't.
At least it didn't.
Yeah, we get back to it eventually.
Well, everyone, thank you very much for listening to our Inexplicable Enigmas.
Inexplicable Enigmas.
I swore I've heard that somewhere. Not Unsolved Mysteries. I've heard Inexplicable Enigmas.
Well, you said it at the start of the podcast.
No. But I swear I've heard it. Like, somebody tell me that.
That sounds familiar.
It kind of does. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. Have a great week. Love y'all.
Yeet.